I see all these calisthenics athletes and coaches post their workouts, and all I see is a bunch of conditioning work. I see sets on sets of push-ups, squats, pull-ups, levers, ab work. If you want to get strong, if you want to build more size, that's not how you're gonna get there.
Is training calisthenics going to waste your time if you're looking to get stronger and build muscle? Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down Victor's talking points because as harsh as it may seem, me, a guy who trains calisthenics, he's kind of right. What's good, everybody? Cobra Trains here, and in this video I'm gonna be reacting and pretty much go into detail about this video that I came across because there are a lot of interesting talking points that were made, specifically centered around the majority of people who work out seem to have regarding training calisthenics, such as whether or not you can build muscle and strength while looking like a natural bodybuilder to some degree. So without rambling too much, let me go ahead and talk about the first point in this video, and that is you can't do calisthenics and train like a strength or bodybuilding athlete.
If you want to get strong, you gotta train more like a strength athlete, more like a bodybuilder even, if you will, without all that pump work. So you gotta think in terms of, how do I get stronger over weeks? Not how do I fatigue my muscles the fastest way possible. Okay, if you do 10 exercises back to back with no rest in between sets, you're gonna get really conditioned. Okay, your cardiovascular endurance is gonna be through the roof. Your strength, however, is barely gonna improve. If you're a beginner, yeah, you'll get stronger, but if you're an advanced athlete, no way. No way. Why? Because you're not giving your body that progressive stimulus. What you're telling your body is basically you're telling it to get better at doing a lot of stuff with very little rest in between. You're not telling your body to get really freaking strong, and that is exactly what you want to do if strength and muscle is your goal.
All right, so a lot of talking points were made, and I'm not here to specifically nitpick every single statement that he's made and come at him. I more so want to just shed some light and give, not only just him, but a lot of people who may come across my channel some insight regarding these statements and the true nature of calisthenics training. Even though his talking points were somewhat true, I believe that he's missing like a big portion of the canvas to paint that overall picture surrounding calisthenic training. Like, he just doesn't really grasp what calisthenics fully is. So the first statement that he made was, if you want to get stronger and build muscle, you need to train like a strength athlete or bodybuilder without all that pump work. And you need to train with the intent of, and I quote, how do I get stronger over weeks, not how do I fatigue my muscle the fastest way possible. Now, I personally agree with this statement to the fullest. And even though training for strength and training for hypertrophy, aka building muscle, has correlation between the two, I need you to understand that if you want to lean towards either one of those options, strength or hypertrophy, you need to specify your training towards those options / goals. But the thing is, at least from what I'm understanding, is that it's almost like he's insinuating that you can't train calisthenics for strength or hypertrophy. It's as if you can't get stronger after training for a certain period of time with calisthenics, similar to that of a strength athlete like a powerlifter, or train calisthenics and build muscle by training like a bodybuilder, within that hypertrophy range. But that's only further away from the truth, to be honest. Let's be real here. I'm a natural calisthenics athlete. I will say though, I am a hybrid calisthenics athlete, but majority of my training when it comes to my upper body is primarily calisthenics. And the first 2 years of my training, which I've been training for 5 years now, was like 95% calisthenics when it came to my upper body. Okay. Lower body, yeah, I do more weightlifting, but that's beside the point. Now, the only evidence that he's bringing on to the table with his talking points is that he believes that calisthenics only consists of endurance-based training, meaning you're doing a bunch of sets and reps, doing exercises after exercises back to back with no rest in between. And it's kind of like a circuit-based training that you would see on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and you kind of just go through the motion. But the thing is, man, that is one aspect of calisthenic training. One aspect out of many, and one aspect that I've personally never done on a consistent basis. I do not train this way. I don't even advocate to train this way myself. If you want to, get bigger and have real objective strength, right? Not only just relative strength, but absolute strength as well. And it's funny because it's like he's almost saying that muscular endurance training is only limited to calisthenics, when in reality, you can do this with weightlifting as well. You can pick up a dumbbell that's not super heavy and train it with dozens of reps, right? For set after set after set, and go on to another exercise, right? So it's kind of the same thing. It's the same training principle, but you're just applying it different, right? But that's beside the point. My take is for those of you watching is that calisthenics is not limited to just endurance-based training, but rather I want y'all to realize that calisthenics encompasses both strength training and hypertrophy-based training. It's just really all about being creative and having the knowledge, or if you don't have the knowledge, to seek that knowledge to choose the correct progressional exercises that allows you to stay within those respective rep ranges, whether it's for strength, meaning training within the 3 to 5 rep ranges, or hypertrophy, anywhere between like 10 to 15 rep ranges. And these rep ranges are just, don't take it as it being like the absolute truth. I'm just giving y'all examples, but pretty much with calisthenics, this can be achieved with 3 different ways in terms of like the different principles of applying calisthenics to your training for strength and hypertrophy, using the floor, equipment, and also additional load. Now, you want to make sure that whenever you're training calisthenics, you want to at least utilize 2 of the 3 training principles. If you can do all 3, then that's even better. Like, for example, if I wanted to train for strength, right, and I'm doing the weighted dips, then I'm adding additional load to the bodyweight exercise, the dips, into weighted dips. And if I want to train for strength, that means I got to be within the 3 to 6 rep ranges, for example. So that right there is me utilizing additional loads and also using an equipment. So the equipment is the dip bar and the additional loads is the weight plates. And the equipment can also be like the weight belt that I'm using to hold the plates. Secondly, if I want to train for hypertrophy, I can easily prefer to probably choose the rings, meaning equipment. And the rings, if y'all don't know, is a great tool to utilize to your advantage when it comes to milking your body weight training, right? Before y'all start adding additional loads, like take the ring fly push-ups or the ring dips. If y'all want to build great pecs, man, these 2 exercises are like top tier. And if you haven't done them, do not speak down on them before y'all even give it a try, because even someone who does weighted dips and someone who can do like handstand push-ups and whatnot, I still get a great intensity when it comes to training the ring dips, because the stretch is just so much more better. And I would even recommend training the ring dips over bar dips if your goal is just to focus on purely hypertrophy based training. Pretty much is what I'm trying to paint right now, is like there's different ways to train with calisthenics, and y'all can even add additional loads to those ring based exercises. You can do weighted ring dips, you can do weighted ring push-ups, and the list goes on. Now, similar to that, you can even isolate your muscle groups with calisthenics too, but you just have to be creative and probably use the rings for majority of the isolation-based exercises. If you want to isolate the long head of the biceps, you got to do pelican curls. If you want to isolate the long head of the triceps, you got to do ring bodyweight tricep extensions. Very similar to what you would do to pretty much the stuff that you would do in the gym with weights. For example, pelican curls is like the direct sibling of the incline dumbbell curl. Same muscle groups being targeted, same body positioning being placed. Ring body weight tricep extensions is the same exercise of that with the overhead tricep extensions on the cables. Literally same thing. You just got to pick and choose what makes sense with weightlifting and your goals, and then kind of be creative with the calisthenic version of it, which, like I said, primarily would be used for isolating your body, would be mainly used with like rings. So yeah, the person who made this video is pretty much just unaware of what calisthenics can consist of. And I don't blame him, because that's just the majority of people unfortunately. So that's why I'm making this video, is just to kind of shed some light upon what calisthenics truly is. Now, the second point that he's made, and is a very bold statement, is that you have to train a push-pull legs or a full body routine in order to train like a strength athlete or bodybuilder.
If you want muscle and strength, follow a push-pull routine or a full body workout done more in a traditional fashion, like a bodybuilding type workout where you do 1 to 2 warm-up sets and you do 2 to 3 hard sets per exercise with 1 to 3 minutes in between those exercises. That's how you want to train. Traditional sets and rep scheme, basically. And that's how you're gonna get the most amount of gains out of your workouts.
Now, after watching this, I was like, okay, you can't be that like dogmatic about those 2 workout splits, but I'll give him the benefit of doubt and assume that he means you have to use like traditional style workout splits, meaning push-pull legs, upper lower, full body, and and so on. Things that is traditional, and pretty much anything that allows you to train your muscle groups twice a week and get adequate rest, right? So that's what I mean by it's traditional, it's time tested, it works, whether it's weightlifting, but this applies to calisthenics too. You can still use these traditional based workout splits with calisthenics. And he even says that you need to follow a traditional set and rep scheme, meaning, doing anywhere between 1 to 2 warm-up sets and 2 to 3 hard working sets. What he's saying is factual, but guys, this is something that I've been preaching about for the longest, and it's literally what I do myself as a calisthenics athlete too. So it's like, it's not necessarily that he's saying like incorrect stuff, but it's like he's insinuating that you can't apply the same principles and strategies to calisthenics, which leads me to pretty much think that he just doesn't have that knowledge of what calisthenics can encompass, like truly. But hey, what do I know? If you want to see more content like this, be sure to follow me, man. I'm the Tough Fitness Guy out here. No cap.
Cobra trains. He's up next. Make sure y'all subscribe to him. He's number 1 out here.
He's the toughest fitness guy out here.